Nature has a funny way of teaching us lessons without being loud about it. Subtle ways, from the thickening air to the poisoned rains and vanishing fish. So much can change from our collective actions, yet the river still flows one way in the end. You go with the flow, everything becomes easy. Trade-off being, you ain't really in any kind of control. People try their entire lives to trick themselves into thinking otherwise. Yet the river itself is strong, wide, fast, and destructive. Merciless at times. Little movements here and there are the most control we really have over anything. Splashing around, none the wiser, till it's all too late, and we go tumbling over the edge together. Even the common criminals around here make it big. Especially if they're toting a solid skill set and know how to hold an edge over the competition. The big guys and corps have the jobs, and the little guys slink along, picking up scraps till they can be worth the proper steak cuts. Some of us are a little past that, but only a little. Still working for the corps in the end, even if it's freelance. Far higher risk, far higher reward. Business this side of the dime eventually becomes more about taking the right jobs rather than simply staying alive. Sometimes we'll see the rush coming, apply enough pressure and plant our feet, hoping to stand against the current. Just a matter of time before the endless flow of the water returns us to the stream. We know it. We still fight for control all the same. No matter how many signs we receive, and in any number of ways, the river never changes. Housing this far off the beaten path is just math. The area was by no means nice, just less in the spotlight. Though, that meant a little noise now and then. The slingings, beatings, and territory plays were daily. Typical even. They'd get especially loud from time to time. Even lethal. That was just how it went. Another spoke on the city's wheels, doing what it'd do naturally in New Houston. Round and round.
Welkom bij transience, mensen. Welkom bij transience. Sorry dat ik moest even mijn sensitivity aanpassen. Soms heb ik gewoon dat hij heel snel gaat en soms heeft hij weer dat hij normaal gaat.
You know, the skies are always shaded with a cloud cover out here. Locals tend to agree it's some omen about the future. God's ironically clear-cut response to the actions of our fellow man. Omens and the wrath of God are just coping explanations to simple matters. The sky's fogged because we're all swimming in the modern American dream out here. Nothing puzzling about it at all. It's just nature. The walk home that night wasn't special either. Down the same old decrepit streets towards that cheap heap I call home. Of course, I could have planted my feet anywhere in the city, even in the high-rises next door to the CEOs with the gold-plated floors. What kind of asshole walks on gold? Anyway, I preferred somewhere closer to home. The stains I represent in my line of work shouldn't be slumming it with the men who never get their hands dirty. Abide near the people drawing eyes. You draw eyes. And that said, the corpos hardly set foot out here, let alone leave a watchful eye to take notes. There's never anything to note. Anything, other than the typical, was a unicorn of a day. And if I knew how special the day was, I might have dressed differently for my last errands, given how long my unicorn of a day was about to become. That's an awful lot of gunfire for a drug bust, but just about right for a gang war. The worst part of any night is when your last few minutes walking home turn into an ordeal. This would be the third war this year. Hopefully the bangers don't make too much of a mess.
Kleine CEO eerder gespeeld, dus daarom weet ik hoe dit want ik wou even kijken of ik hem überhaupt leuk vond te doen. Ik heb heel veel games nog in petto voor het kanaal, want ik heb gewoon een Steam sales geweest.
Messy. I think I recognized her.
Dance, 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 revolution.
Was never good at Jam Jam 8. 7, however. Now that is far too much gunfire for just a hit. Flashbangs? That's a little fancy for these guys. The enforcers. Shit. I'd planned to ask them about this mess. Should figure out what happened here. Tight groupings. Looks pretty precise. Pagano? No. An execution through and through. Didn't stand a chance. Whoever did this was sure to toss their guns. But you'd only need to do that if you actually had a couple of questions first. This was overkill. Looks like someone had a shotgun. Interesting. This event seems more like an interrogation than a hit. You'd need dozens of bangers to push the fight above, so that rules out a smaller gang. Then there's the Paolo family, but they don't stretch this far, and they're on neutral terms with the Kings. This massacre doesn't make sense. And there's the shotgun casing. I'll definitely need to check with Owl. Maurice Pagano. I was never particularly pleased with another accountant moving into my little haven, but over time, the guy proved neutral and useful. We only ran a couple of hunts, to be fair, but I trusted him well enough to parse a little more about the situation for me. He always kept a particularly watchful eye, especially on gang activity. Stayed on the first floor, near a main exit. I preferred a little more distance from the beaten path. Where he saw an exit on the ground floor, I saw a lack of options. Now, how the hell did these slingers get their hands on one of these? Didn't have a weapon on him. The gunfire still popping off above. Likely means this poor guy just has terrible luck. Empty. Our local gang left weapons around wherever, even without the current commotion. here we are. Pagano, you around?
Eli, still alive, eh? Fantastic.
Yeah, I just got in. You know, to all this noise.
Yeah, sounds like a bit of a mess. Little more than a gang war, to be honest.
Yeah, my thoughts exactly. Any whistles?
None. They passed by my room. They're blocking both stairwells. Otherwise, this floor is untouched.
Think they want you to stay out of it?
That's what's strange. Neither of us bother the gangs, right?
On neutral terms with them. I did see our neighborhood queen go over the edge on my way up, though.
She had this whole place in her pocket. That's a pretty big move. Fences must be to make sure our new tenants keep the advantage.
Rags couldn't afford those fences. Might be stolen.
Mila, my gut tells me you need to be careful. At least know it's not a blacklisting, obviously.
Yeah, I was wondering. If it is for me, it's in-house.
Right. A red listing. What company would, though?
I'd have to think about that. Haven't pissed any of them off lately, as far as I know.
Orale, you could, walk away. Recon a bit. Just in case.
Unfortunately not. Got some sensitive whispers stashed up there. Plus the gear.
Right. That fancy armor of yours. I assume you remember where my main stash is? Hit it. Take anything you need.
Understood. Best you lay low for now.
Esperes, if this is worst case, they might have intel on my main. But I have a second one hidden in the elevator shaft on this side of the building. Should be able to get to the maintenance room from downstairs and access it.
Around the fence? They wasted their Akron.
Or stole it for nothing.
You really think they shopped your stash?
I wouldn't put it past them. If it's just a war, they could use the firepower. Traditions and consequences be damned.
Poor decision-making under duress. Fair enough. I guess it's time to find out.
Good hunting. Anything else comes up, I'll line ya.
Appreciated. Alright. First, the stash. Ah, shit. Maybe I can slip these guys.
What the?
Enemy sighted!
Ik zie ook niks. Het is zo donker, jongen.
Alright. First, the stash. Ah, shit. Maybe I can slip these guys. Touching an accountant's stash wasn't illegal per se. More so just tradition, seeped in blood. Some of us reacted harshly to our precious belongings being tampered with, and the rest of us didn't nip that in the bud, so it became taboo. Funny how that works.
No sign.
There it is. Not much ammo.
shit fast.
All right. First, the stash.